For the head, we're going to start off by chaining 6. And then we're going to do 4 single crochets along the chain. Now you can work into this loop here if you want, but I just prefer working into this back loop here, so that's the way I'm going to do it, but it doesn't make a massive difference, so it's completely up to you. So I'm going to do 4 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then into the final chain I'm going to do an increase, so I'm going to do 1, 2, and then I'm going to continue working around the other side of the chain. So I'm going to do 4 single crochets first, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'm going to finish off with an increase in this last stitch. So 1, 2. So this is round 1, and at the end of round 1 you should have 12 single crochets all the way around, so I'll just show you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And so for the next few rounds we're just going to be doing standard increases in increments of 6. So for round 2 you're going to do single crochet increase and repeat that 5 more times to get you to 18 single crochets at the end of the round. Then for round 2 you're going to do for round 3 you're going to do 2 single crochet increase, repeat that 5 more times to get you to 24 single crochets at the end of the round. Round 4, 3 single crochets increase, repeat 5 more times to get you to 30 single crochets at the end of the round. And then for round 5 you're going to do 4 single crochets increase and repeat that 5 more times to get you to 36 single crochets at the end of round 5. So I will meet you at the end of round 5. So I've come to the end of round 5 and I now have this nice oval shape here. So now all we need to do is for round 6 to 13 we just need to single crochet all the way around, and this will start to create kind of like a snout for Hornsby. So I will meet you at the end of round 13. So I got to the end of round 13, as you can see this kind of snout shape is starting to take place. Now one thing I did forget to say, which I've also done it wrong myself, is I said for round 13 you just single crochet all the way around, but actually for round 13 you should stop 2 single crochets short of completing the round. So in other words, you should just do 34 single crochets, and no worries if you've made the same mistake I have. Obviously I'm going to correct this in my written pattern and when I add text to the video, but if you've done the same thing, all you need to do is just release the last 2 single crochets that you did. So that'll put you in the right position at the end of round 13. And the reason that we've done this is because we're going to start shaping the hole for the mouth now, and this will put us in the right position for that, otherwise we'd end up with a lopsided mouth. So for the next round, so round 14, we're going to start by doing 8 chain. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then we're going to count 7 single crochets, and we're going to start by single crocheting into that one. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and in this one you're going to do a standard single crochet, and then you're going to do 12 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Then you're going to do 4 increases. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you're going to do 13 single crochets, and that should get you to the end of round 14. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So at the end of round 14 you should have your chain 8 here, and then you should have 34 single crochets remaining around the rest of the round. So we're going to be crocheting into this chain at the start of round 15. For round 15 you're going to start by doing 8 single crochets across the chain. So 1, 2, 3, missed a loop there, 4, 5, 6, missed a loop again. It's quite easy to do that, just take your time. 7 and 8. And now what we need to do is just do 34 single crochets around, so just continue working into the actual single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So I'll meet you when you've completed that. So I've just reached the end of round 15, and now for rounds 16 to 23 we're just going to single crochet all the way around, so I'll meet you at the end of round 23. So now I'm at the end of round 23, and for round 24 we're going to start doing some decreases. So we're going to do 5 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then a decrease. And we're going to repeat that 5 more times, and that will get us to 36 single crochets at the end of round 24. I'm just going to talk you through the next few rounds because they're just standard decreases in increments of 6. So for round 25, 4 single crochet, decrease, repeat 5 more times to get you to 30 single crochets at the end of the round. Round 26, 3 single crochets, decrease, repeat 5 more times to get you to 24 single crochets at the end of the round. And then for round 27, 2 single crochets, decrease, repeat 5 more times to get you to 18 single crochets at the end of the round. And I'll meet you at that point because that's when we're going to start stuffing. So I got to the end of round 27 and I've got this shape that you can kind of see now. So that's the side of the head there. And I'm just going to stuff at this point. So you're going to want a fair bit of stuffing actually. And just make sure you don't like accidentally push any of the stuffing through that hole that we've left. So I think I've accidentally put my stitch marker inside, but that's okay, that can just stay in there. I'll just make another one. So you want to kind of be shaping the head a little bit as you go, so you want this kind of sloped upwards for the forehead, I suppose you would say. So I'm just going to keep adding some more. So I think this will probably be enough. So just keep going until you're kind of happy with how that looks. And then all we need to do is the final 2 rounds. So for round 28, you're just going to do single crochet, decrease, and repeat that 5 times to get you to 12 single crochets at the end of the round. And then for round 29, you're going to decrease all the way around, and then when we finish round 29, we're going to close up the hole. So I will meet you when we finished round 29. So I've reached the end of the final round, as you can see here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the yarn. I'm going to leave quite a long tail because whenever I'm sewing the head around, I might want to sew around 2 or 3 times to increase the stability of it. So I would leave quite a lot more than you probably think that you're going to need, just in case. But I mean, if you don't, it's not the end of the world because you can always just reattach some more yarn. So now we're just going to close up the hole in the way that we would normally do. So pull that tight, and then you're just going to want to feed that yarn tail through, and you want it to come out somewhere at the bottom of the head so that it's ready for sewing to the body. So you can see that this is the side of the head, and you can tell that because the hole should be at the bottom here. So I'm just going to go in through here and come out at a kind of point down here. You might need to get rid of some stuffing that's popped out if that happens to you. But yeah, that's now going to be ready for sewing to the body. But before we do that, we want to go back to that hole that we left, and we want to make the mouth. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So effectively what we have here is 6 skipped single crochets, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then a chain 8 up here. And what we're going to do is we're going to reattach our blue yarn into any of the stitches, but I'm going to choose this single crochet on the end here because I think this is probably the easiest stitch to reattach into and makes the most sense. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 6 single crochets into each of those skipped single crochets. So this can be a little bit fiddly, so just again take your time. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you're going to do an extra single crochet into the side, so not in the chain 8, you're just going to do an extra single crochet into the side. So here, so I'm just going to do 1 here, and then you're going to do 8 single crochets into that chain 8 that we did. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then you're going to do your final single crochet again into the side here. So I'm going to do mine here. So now at the end of this first round, you should have 16 single crochets all the way around. So for rounds 2 to 5 of the mouth, you just want to single crochet all the way around. So I'll meet you at the end of round 5. So I got to the end of round 5, and then for round 6, which is the final round, we're just going to decrease all the way around. So that'll be 8 decreases. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then this is the final one. 8. Okay, so now I'm going to cut the yarn, leaving a fair tail. Again, I'm probably going to leave more than I actually need, but I just like to be on the safe side. And then I'm going to pull this through. And the first thing I'm going to do is just to sew the mouth closed. So you can do this however you like. You could use a whip stitch or you could do something else. I'm just going to go like this. So I'm going to go into this stitch here, and then back into these ones, then like this, and then like that. And I'm kind of happy with that, but you could, like I say, do it any way that you want. So now that is the mouth, and obviously doesn't look good like that. So I think the best thing to do, which is what I'm going to do, is just to sew this down so that the mouth remains closed like this. So I'm just going to use this yarn tail to do that. So I'm just going to kind of thread it through to a more stitch at the back here. And I'm just going to not do this in any particular way. I'm just going to kind of, oops, sorry, hit the camera there. I'm just going to go in, and then I'm probably going to go into this next stitch. Ooh, if I can get into it. And then back into one of these ones. And then maybe one of this one at the back here, into this one. And I'm just going to keep doing that until I'm kind of happy that that's been sewn down. So I'll show you when I've reached that point. I've now sewn the mouth down, as you can see, and I'm happy with how that looks. So I'm just going to feed the yarn tail through the head and then just cut it. So as you can see, I definitely left way too much, but you know, like I say, better safe than sorry. So I'm just gonna go through to this stitch here, and then I am just going to cut that. And there we have it. So now you can see this is what the head looks like from this side, and then on this side, so you can see that little mouth at the bottom there. So now the next step is to actually sew the head to the body. So let's get started with that. So I've roughly pinned down the body to the head, as you can see. It's totally up to you if you want to use pins or not. Sometimes it does make it a bit easier, but I don't always use them, so yeah, just completely your preference. Now in terms of how you pin the body, you just need to decide which side looks the neatest, and that should be your front side, and then the other side should go to the back. So you should just be able to pick one of the two sides. It doesn't really matter which one you pick, as it's kind of, it should be even all the way around. So this is the side that I decided to use. And you're just going to make sure that the body is kind of pinned just behind the mouth here, and it should just reach the back of the head. So if it looks like this, then you're all set to go. So it's completely up to you again how you sort of attach the body to the head. You can use any kind of stitch you want, but for me, I think I'm going to use a whip stitch. So I'm just going to go around like this. It doesn't have to be perfect, but just try and keep it as neat as you can. Just keep going all the way around like that. And I'm going to sew around once, and I'm going to show you what it looks like when I've done it once, and I'm going to let you know if I decide to go around again, because sometimes once isn't quite stable enough, so I'll let you know what I decide to do. I've sewn round once, and I actually feel like this is pretty stable. So as you can see, it's not really wobbling at all. So I'm actually just going to leave it at this, but if yours is a bit feeling a bit wonky or wobbly, you might want to sew round once more. So I'm just going to feed my yarn tail again through to a random stitch, and then I'm just going to cut. So here's what we have now. So we've got the body and the head, and this is what it looks like from the front. So what we're going to do now is we're going to make the arms. So I will start off by using cream yarn for this. So grab your cream yarn.